A Google AI teamer has been arrested for sharing secrets with China. Welcome back to the AI Breakdown. One of the defining relationships on the global stage right now is the relationship between China and US. It is a great power struggle of a different flavor in a way that we haven't had for a couple decades now. Interestingly, if you pay any attention to artificial intelligence, you'll know that this has become a major vector of that competition. That's manifested, of course, in prohibitions around the type of technology that American companies can share with their Chinese counterparts and sell into the Chinese market. This has left companies like AMD and Nvidia constantly working to produce lower-powered chips that get in under US thresholds in order to keep that as a valuable market for themselves. But it also looms large as a question of policy. When we are debating things like open source AI versus closed source AI, people's thoughts about competition with China tends to influence that conversation. Although fascinatingly, that can head in two very different directions. Some people see open source AI development as the lifeblood of American innovation and the way that we outcompete China, whereas other folks see it as just a way for China to get access to our most advanced models. However, there is also just the plain old question of espionage, and that's where our story begins today. A former Google teamer, Linwei Ding, has been arrested in California and accused of stealing Google's AI secrets and sharing them with China. Writes the New York Times, a Chinese citizen who recently quit his job as a software engineer for Google in California has been charged with trying to transfer artificial intelligence technology to a Beijing-based company that paid him secretly, according to a federal indictment unsealed on Wednesday. The indictment reads, a federal grand jury indicted Linwei Ding, aka Leon Ding, charging him with 4 counts of theft of trade secrets in connection with an alleged plan to steal from Google LLC proprietary information related to AI technology. According to the indictment, returned on March 5th and unsealed earlier today, that's Wednesday, March 6th, 38-year-old Ding, a national of the People's Republic of China, transferred sensitive Google trade secrets and other confidential information from Google's network to his personal account, while secretly affiliating himself with PRC-based companies in the AI industry. Said Attorney General Merrick Garland, the Justice Department will not tolerate the theft of artificial intelligence or other advanced technologies that could put our national security at risk. In this case, we allege the defendant stole artificial intelligence-related trade secrets from Google while secretly working for 2 companies based in China. We will fiercely protect sensitive technologies developed in America from falling into the hands of those who should not have them. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco added that the defendant had stolen over 500 confidential files and that, quote, the Justice Department will relentlessly pursue and hold accountable those who would siphon disruptive technologies, especially AI, for unlawful export. Also quoted in the announcement was FBI Director Christopher Wray, who said, today's charges are the latest illustration of the lengths affiliates of companies based in the People's Republic of China are willing to go to steal American innovation. The theft of innovative technology and trade secrets from American companies can cost jobs and have devastating economic and national security consequences. The FBI will continue its efforts to vigorously pursue those responsible for stealing U.S. companies' intellectual property and most closely guarded secrets. The arrest was carried out under the auspices of something called the Disruptive Technology Strike Force, said Assistant Secretary Matthew Axelrod of the Commerce Department's Office for Export Enforcement, quote, in the 1 year since its inception, the Disruptive Technology Strike Force has been relentless in protecting advanced U.S. technologies like artificial intelligence from malign actors. Let today's announcement serve as further warning. Those who would steal sensitive U.S. technology risk finding themselves on the wrong end of a criminal indictment. So let's pause here before we get into the specifics of what was actually stolen. There are 2 things that are notable to me about this announcement. The first is the aggressiveness of the posture. This is probably a reflection of the state of the relationship between the US and China, but it is really notable. This is not soft language at all. This is you've brought down the wrath of the one remaining superpower in the world kind of language. The other thing, though, that's notable is how much AI is viewed as a national security and defense priority. This is not just a question of American companies and their economic competitiveness. This is about the inviolability of the sanctity of the United States as a whole. It seems to me very clear that they are trying to make an example of Leon Ding. They want this to be as loud as humanly possible to show how aggressive they're going to be when it comes to AI. And that's fairly notable. It sends a signal about where AI ranks in terms of priorities, and it seems to be pretty high. Now, what was the information that was actually stolen? The Verge writes, much of the stolen data allegedly revolves around Google's Tensor Processing Unit or TPU chips. In the indictment, for example, we see that between June 1st, 2022 and April 17th, 2023, the defendant allegedly stole chip architecture and software design specifications for TPU version 6, hardware software system management and performance specifications for GPU chips deployed in Google supercomputing data centers, and software design specifications for Google CMS that managed machine learning workloads on TPU and GPU chips in Google supercomputing data centers. Now, this was not some sophisticated hack. The Verge writes, the government accuses Ding of transferring those files to a personal Google Cloud account between May 2022 and May 2023. He allegedly did so by, quote, copying data from the Google source files into the Apple Notes application on his Google-issued MacBook laptop, and then converting them from Apple Notes to PDFs to avoid detection by Google's data loss prevention systems. So Google, one of the 5 biggest companies in the world, or 6, whatever, you get the point, was stymied by a guy copy-pasting into Apple Notes and then turning Apple Notes into PDFs. Now, one of the other crazy parts of the story is that it seems like for a period of 6 months, while he was technically at Google still, he was also joining and starting Chinese startups. The Verge again writes, the government says that less than a month after he began stealing files, a Chinese machine learning company named Rongshu offered to make him CTO. He flew to China for 5 months to raise funds for the company, and he subsequently founded and led a machine learning startup named Zhishuan, all while still working for Google. He resigned from Google in December 2023 and reportedly booked a one-way ticket to Beijing scheduled to depart 2 days past his end date after the company began asking him about his uploads. Apparently, at one point, he faked being present at Google in the US by having a different employee scan his badge. So we know a little bit about what he was stealing, but what was Ding actually doing at Google? The indictment reads, the focus of Ding's work was the software platform developed in Google's network of supercomputing data centers. Ding's job responsibilities included development of software that allowed GPU to function efficiently for machine learning, AI applications, or other purposes required by Google or Google Cloud clients. Due to Ding's job responsibilities, he was authorized to access Google confidential information related to Google's supercomputing data centers, including the hardware infrastructure, the software platform, and the AI models and applications they supported. It also sounds like although they missed the activity for a while, Google eventually did catch wind of the idea that something was going on. The indictment again reads, on or about December 2nd, 2023, Ding uploaded additional files from the Google network to another personal Google Drive account while Ding was in the PRC. On December 8th, 2023, after Google detected this activity, Ding told a Google investigator that he had uploaded the files to his personal account to use the information as evidence of the work that he had conducted at Google. Ding assured the investigator that he had no intention of leaving Google. Ding signed a self-deletion affidavit dated December 8th, basically saying that he had destroyed the information. This was, of course, not true. It finally came down, however, when on December 26th, Ding resigned via email, and on December 29th, quote, Google learned that Ding had presented as the CEO of Zhishuan at the Miracle Plus Investor Conference in Beijing in November 24th, 2023. Google then suspended Ding's network access and remotely locked his Google laptop. Google searched Ding's network activity history and discovered Ding's unauthorized uploads from May 22 through May 2023. That's also when they discovered another employee swiping Ding's badge. And on January 4th, security personnel retrieved Google's Ding laptop and mobile device from his residence. On January 6th, the FBI got involved. And then finally, he was arrested yesterday on Wednesday morning in Newark, California. The New York Times points out that this is a big and ongoing issue even outside of this case. They write, accusations of intellectual property theft have been a major sticking point in U.S.-China relations for years. A Chinese national was arrested in 2015 for selling some of IBM's source code to parties in China. In 2018, a former Apple employee was apprehended as he tried to board a flight to Beijing with the company's autonomous driving trade secrets. The same year, the Chinese firm Sinova Wind Group was convicted of stealing wind turbine technology from a Massachusetts-based company, AMSC, which incurred more than $800 million in losses. In October, Christopher Wray, the FBI director, said that intellectual property theft from China was a danger to U.S. economic and national security, describing it as the, quote, defining threat of this generation. It seems like this is an issue that is poised to just increase in significance. The South China Morning Post, for example, this morning reported that in meetings at the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC, a delegate who leads a Chinese AI company said, quote, objectively speaking, despite the great efforts we have been making, our difference with the US is still huge. In a certain sense, as new developments in AI emerge exponentially, if no decisive and groundbreaking measures are taken, we are at risk of seeing an even wider gap. Problems in the development of information technology cannot be solved by creating applicable scenarios, nor through breakthroughs in specific technologies. It is not even a problem about talent and basic research. It is about many things from all aspects. We are all very anxious. The SCMP goes on, while China's AI industry was generally seen as more competitive in the varied tech rivalry between the two countries, the latest launch of OpenAI's Sora and ChatGPT has raised questions about China's progress in catching up with the US. To cope, Chinese tech companies, which have insisted that chip restrictions would not affect their development in the short term, have relied on their existing inventories or have turned to domestic AI chip makers. But after Sora was launched last month, the State Council's State-Owned Asset Supervision and Administration Commission urged firms under direct control by the central government to, quote, embrace the profound changes brought about by AI. In other words, Sora has China even more convinced that they're behind and needing to take drastic steps to keep up. Fascinating stuff going on out there in the world. AI is very clearly at the center of the geopolitical conversation. That, however, is going to do it for today's AI Breakdown. Until next time, peace.